Happy Thursday, everyone. We are. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I'm so used to this. Happy Friday, everyone. Little delay in the show. We had a wonderful time yesterday, and in a little bit, we're gonna tell you all about it. This is the Two Men in a Room show. I am one of the hosts, the angriest man in Orlando, and via mobile satellite, our co-host.
Bernell James, also from Orlando. We do have a little special guest. Special guest, would you like to say hey? Look, say hey.
Hello, special guest.
Say, that is my grandbaby Tanisha. Sorry that I'm in the car driving. I know that's not safe. We had such a delay with getting her from Tampa. But Anthony, what do you have for tonight?
Okay, so as everyone knows by now, if they've watched our other social media, we went and saw Deadpool and Wolverine last night. So without giving away anything that happens in the movie, what was your feeling of the movie? Did you like it, or did you not like it?
So, I'm not a Deadpool kind of type of guy. I didn't really watch none of the Deadpools. I thought it was very comical.
Right.
I'm more of a. It wasn't bad because the comical part was very, very funny. So I give them that. But I guess I was hoping or wishing that it was more action than anything. But I get where it was coming from. So I did enjoy the movie. So thanks for that. We had very nice, comfortable seats and all the little upgrades. So, but it was comical, which was very funny. It was just different for me because I'm used to the X-Men adventure type of let's just action, let's just get it, and just do what we need to do. But at the end of the day, they had the audience laughing and cheering and all that. So it captivated a lot of people there. So I can't downgrade the movie. So I mean, it was good. It was good. It was good.
Excellent. I would also give it a thumbs up. It's a good movie. It's based on the Deadpool series mostly. A lot of the Fox X-Men type material. As for the action scenes, there are quite a few action scenes in there. But yeah, it's a buddy comedy. It's Deadpool trying to find Wolverine. They go on an adventure, and he likes to, talk to the audience while he's doing it. So you hear a lot of jokes based on stuff happening in the movie, based on stuff not happening in the movie. And my interpretation of this is it felt shorter than it should have been. They could have added another half hour and kind of did a couple storylines a little more detail. But for this being a Marvel movie, it was under the Marvel Studios umbrella. It's better than it's been in a while. I didn't go see No Way Home, but the last big Marvel movie that I saw was Avengers Endgame. So it's been about 5 years, and I actually really felt excited going into this movie, and it didn't disappoint. So I would definitely recommend, if you're gonna go see it. They do explain quite a bit in the movie, but if you want to watch the other two Deadpool movies to see how the timing is with stuff and how things move, if you've ever watched any of the Marvel series from 2019 back, and any of the animated Fox series, like X-Men animated, the animated Spider-Man ones, you'll kind of have a gist of where the story is. And if you have no clue about any of the Marvel stuff, I think you'll laugh at some of the jokes, maybe not all of them, but you'll laugh at some of them, and it'll be fun. I would encourage try it in the different formats it's in. We tried it in 3D, which was actually really fun. The beginning of the movie is very 3D animated. The middle kind of forgets they were doing 3D, but then at the end you kind of come back to the 3D feel of it. And it's also in IMAX, and it's also in regular movie picture style too. So you could choose any of the formats, and I think you'll enjoy it. So we're not going to do any spoilers at the beginning of the show. We're going to go through a couple other things to talk about, and then we're going to come back at the end and do spoilers. So if you have not seen this movie, you can listen up to the next two topics, and then the last topic, just shut us off, go see the movie first, then come back, and you'll kind of be able to give your opinion of what you thought about everything. So I wanted to talk about some of the upcoming movies, some of the trailers that are before Deadpool and Wolverine. And one of them is the next Marvel big picture that's going to come out, which is Captain America Brave New World. So I saw the trailer. I had actually seen this trailer on YouTube, so it wasn't the first time watching it. But for you, Vernell, first time watching Captain America Brave New World trailer, what did you think of the trailer?
I think it's gonna be great. I'm a Captain America kind of guy. I love Captain America, so I definitely want to see it. And from just the trailer alone, it come out next year, correct?
February 14th of 2025, so right, Valentine's Day.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, I do. Lois willing, I do want to go see that. I actually ready for that to come out.
Okay.
Because it caught my attention. It caught my attention.
Okay. The question I have to ask is, how do you feel about the Falcon taking over the mantle of Captain America?
Well, I don't know nothing about all that. All I know is this: I'm finna watch Captain America. I'm finna watch some action movies, and I'm good. But
okay,
I mean, it is what it is, I guess. I don't need. Why are they letting him take over Captain America?
Okay, so at the end of Avengers Endgame, Chris Evans' character, who plays the character of Captain America, but Steve Rogers.
Right.
Steve Rogers ages out. So he's an old man, and he hands the shield off to Falcon.
Right.
And Falcon takes the shield, but doesn't really want to be Captain America.
Right. He want to be himself.
Right. So then they go into the Disney Plus series of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So through that series, he kind of tries to figure out how he can be Captain America. And personally, I thought it was a terrible series. It didn't really go anywhere with the characters. It did bring some stuff in that kind of felt like it was not really world building for Marvel. It was just simply they just wanted to do a story about real life, which at the time was 2021. People didn't really want to deal with real life because of the whole pandemic. So a lot of people didn't watch it, but at the end, he kind of gets his new suit as Captain America, but he still has his Falcon wings on. So it was a little weird. But in the comic books, he does take over for Captain America as, I believe, the third or fourth Captain America. So there is some comic-based stuff to this. You have a couple new characters in this movie that no one's going to really know. And it's said to be basically a spy thriller type movie. So I don't know if there's going to be a lot of action in it. I think it's going to be a lot more like secret ops stuff, moving around different countries, finding out different information and stuff. So there, little spoiler on this part, at least. There was an actual first version of this movie called Captain America New World Order. And they filmed the entire movie. They had it ready to go. And it was shown for the executives at Disney. And they said, no, we're not releasing this movie. You have to go back and reshoot the whole movie. So they reshot about 95% of this movie to make New World Order. So I'm actually really curious that if anybody out there has a copy of New World Order, I would pay money to see it. Me personally, I would pay money to see it.
I just don't think they have a copy. I just don't think that no one has a copy.
Oh, I think there's a copy on somebody's
This
hard
is not
drive.
that dumb.
But
But they're not going to release it.
They won't, but Disney had a hack about a month ago. So did it get found out? I don't know.
I doubt it. Disney powerful. I just doubt it.
We'll see. We'll see.
So when you think they would release it if someone has a copy?
They're never going to release it, but I think if this movie absolutely bombs, which I think it's going to, 6 months to a year later, if somebody has it, it might find its way onto the dark web. And then people would kind of, bootleg versions of it, back in New York, where you'd have somebody just get a copy, make copies, and sell it out, bootleg versions. So there may be a bootleg version of the first movie sometime late next year. I'm going to say that. Because, stuff happens all the time that gets filmed that nobody wanted filmed. So it just leaks out. Okay, so Captain America, we saw. What about the Alien Romulus movie? The trailer sets them up as... Oh, we're losing your signal there a little bit.
Yeah, because I'm around.
Okay, so the movie set up that a group of looked like teenagers is trying to break into a ship to get some type of materials or something, and they encounter the beginning of aliens, which were the face huggers. And I think we got you back. So what'd you feel about Alien?
Oh, I done watched every Alien there is, every Predator there is. I'm watching it. I gotta see it. I love Alien.
So you're going to see that one. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go see that one. Yes. I'm going to go. Okay. It looked like it was interesting. So I do want to go see that one.
Okay. All right. So were there any other trailers that interest you that you can think of?
Not that I could think of.
Okay. I'll throw one out that I actually thought was pretty good. Was the new one for Beetlejuice, which is
I didn't think that was good.
You didn't think that was good? Why not?
No.
Hold on. We're losing you. Hold on there. Are you back?
I'm here.
Okay. So say that again. What did you think of it? And we're in and out on audio on that. So I thought it was going to be pretty good. I think getting Michael Keaton back, and you had Winona Ryder back there. You've got the original characters. Is it a little too late in the series? Yeah, because the original was what, almost 30 years ago. So you're you're kind of pushing the length on it, but I think nostalgia sells big today. So I think a lot of people are going to be very nostalgic to go back and watch it again and feel like a kid again watching it. As long as Alec Baldwin isn't killing anyone in this movie, which should absolutely be a joke in this movie, but I think it's gonna be a fun movie for the older crowd. The younger crowd, maybe they'll want to see it. It's getting close to Halloween, so it might do well. It opens in September, so it might do well. Might
Yeah,
do well.
I'm not a Beetlejuice person now.
Okay. So, any other movies that kind of
Well, you know,
intrigue you?
I'm not a movie individual, and if you ask me to go, then I would like, okay, what is it? What it's about? Then I would go. But just for me to say, oh, I got to go to the movies, you know, that's not gonna happen. Um,
Okay.
so, but I know you're a movie guy. You like stuff like that. But yes, I do want to see Alien. I do want to see the Avenger, Captain America. Um, but Beetlejuice, no, I could care less about
No.
that one. So
Okay.
you know what was disappointing to me at Disney?
Tell me what was disappointing at Disney.
That I thought Disney had it together. I really did. But apparently they don't. And I'm pretty sure they losing money from my experience when we was waiting in line to get our tickets scanned to go to place some
I
food. You
We're
had a
losing you
couple
a
of
little.
teenagers.
Okay, go ahead.
You had a couple of teenagers got in for free.
Got it. Oh, yes. Okay.
So that's number one. Number two is how many people is doing that?
Okay. So we
Then
went to,
three, when you
yeah.
order, you go ahead.
Okay, so we went to an AMC theater at Disney Springs for anyone who wants to look it up. So they have the ropes, the stanchions in the front, which kind of guide you up to the ticket person who's going to scan your tickets. Now, these things are not bolted into the ground, so it's very easy to, you could either jump over them or simply move them and go around. So we did notice a few kids who were kind of running to the end, moving around and getting around to get into the movies. Apparently, ticket prices are that bad that you basically have to kind of sneak into movies. And used to be you'd just buy the cheapest ticket to a movie and then just kind of go see whatever movie you were going to go see. You know, they did a lot with kids going into R-rated movies. You buy the kids movie and then you sneak in to go to the R-rated movie. But apparently they just kind of hopped the ropes and ran in. I don't know if their parents were already in there. Who knows? But it certainly looked like kids were just kind of jumping the line to get in. I didn't see them go into the Deadpool movie. I'm not sure which movie they were going into, but it certainly makes you think, like, what's going on in society now where you can't even scrounge a few bucks to go to the movies. But this was an AMC thing. I do feel bad for theaters right now. You don't have a lot of big movies out there that are bringing in the crowds. So, you know, having people try to skip in or jump in to get a free ticket or a free movie, it hurts. It hurts the cinema more than anybody. You know, they hire, you know, people and kids to work in there and they want to be able to pay them well so that, you know, they get your popcorn fresh, they get your drinks cold. So, you know, certainly they need they need the ticket revenue from that to do that.
But I know you're not talking about the beverage because
What?
they need to just they need to do something about that because you order I order a fountain drink, correct?
Right.
And you order a regular drink.
Bottle drink, yes.
Okay, so when we went up there to retrieve the cup and your drink, I thought they was gonna hand you your drink. He said,
Right.
"Oh, just go over there and get it."
Yeah.
Anybody could go over there and get it, so why pay for a drink?
Well, out of respect for the theater and good morals, you would pay for the drink and go grab it. But I can understand some people may just walk
Right.
up and grab a drink and walk into their theater.
But don't you think they should have it monitored close by where you get something? They need to come up with something. Because you
Um,
just
I
turned around, went on over there, got it, and did what you had to do.
I mean, if they're doing inventory control and they realize that there is quite a bit of theft there, I would imagine them wanting to move the machines to either a back area or simply doing like they'll give you a coin, you go put the coin in the machine and you can retrieve your beverage. So if you
No,
pay
all they
for it
got to do is
at the
put the machine
kiosk,
where they gave him, where the guy had to give him my cup. They should have had a person just give you your beverage.
well, like I said, that's one way to do it, yes.
Just put it behind the
But
counter.
maybe it's not as bad as we think it is. Maybe people are being good and not stealing beverages out of the coolers.
I mean, and you could be absolutely right. I can't argue that. But I just said, by me visually seeing both of those things, it's like, how many people is really sneaking in the movies? How many people is just really taking a beverage? I must give it to them. The burger and the onion rings was real good.
Oh yeah, very very good food.
Yeah, very good
Um,
food. Very good food.
it
They
it's
gave it to
not
us
like
in a timely manner.
right.
So
It's
I
not
can't.
like it used to be. They used to actually have a almost like a table in front of you that would go the length of the seats and had some lighting on the table for you to be able to see. The lighting and table got taken out probably because of spreading germs with COVID and everything. Um, so that was a little disappointing. They only give you a little swivel tray now to eat off of,
It's
and you're
still not
basically
bad though. It's still not
you
bad.
right.
It's still not bad.
So AMC brings you the food to your seat. I'm not sure if the other theaters do that yet or not. I
I
imagine
mean, I
some
think
do.
that's grand. I think it's grand. So
Hmm.
you in your recliner and been waited on. So hey, that's fine with me.
Right.
Well, I'm getting to the point to where traffic is getting very heavy. So I
Hmm.
do apologize for the things that's going on. Under the circumstances, I had to go get my grandbaby, and it was a delay in timing. So I do have to jump off, and I do have to say I apologize. But I would love for Anthony to continue with the show. He's doing such a great job with it so far. I want to say thank you, and I appreciate everybody. But I know safety is first, so I got to make
Right.
sure that hey, I follow the rules and regulations of the laws.
Okay. So yeah, certainly jump off if it's not safe. We'll see you next Thursday.
Not even that
Or
Thursday, remember,
no.
because I be moving.
Okay. So we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Right.
Thank you for the update on that.
Right. Don't forget.
Okay.
And like I say, thanks each and every one that's watching. Take the time out to make sure they support us in any way. I and Anthony do appreciate it.
All right. So have a safe drive, and we will see you back in Orlando.
Okay.
All right. Okay. All right. So Vernell has stepped out of the arena. And there we go. So, where'd we leave off? So yeah, hopefully AMC is monitoring the situation and doing any measures that needs to help keep the business going, because theaters right now took a major hit last year with the strike. They're going to take a major hit this year just because there weren't enough movies being made because everybody was on strike. So when you have a giant movie like this, where a lot of people are going to want to come in and they're going to want to be um, paying some of the top dollar prices. We paid for the 3D version of the movie, which is high up there in price. You want to be able to make revenue to pay back, your employees, your suppliers, and even if you took loans to keep the theater going in small towns and stuff, you want to be able to make back that revenue, pay down those bills, and keep your business going. It would be really hurtful to see a lot of theaters close. You have a lot of local people that work at those theaters, running projectors, making the food, cleaning, making sure you have a wonderful experience watching the movies. And certainly, you don't want your local city or community to not have a theater. Like some of the greatest experiences is watching great movies with a crowd. We heard multiple cheers, hands clapping, laughing. The movie had a lot of emotion with it, so you want to be able to kind of experience that with a full crowd, and it's some of the best times. It's almost the same as being at sporting events. You obviously have a much bigger crowd, much more noise, but when you get that surge of everyone having the same feeling about something, it's a really great feeling to experience. And it was good to feel that again, where everyone was cheering on and laughing at stuff again. I didn't think after Endgame you would really have that moment again with at least a Marvel movie, but this one hit. This one hit. So you definitely go see it before all the spoilers get out. I know stay off social media if you need to, because it is just absolutely terrible at spoiling stuff. So, yeah, it's a movie that kind of dropped a few hints in the trailers. So if you watched the trailers, see, the last trailer really dropped a good cameo, which kind of was like you probably should have kept that one in the can. So yeah, put it on the ticker. There we go. Okay, so that does not look good. Hold on. Give me a background with that. Thank you. There we go. All right, so we're gonna drop the spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. So if you see this down here, I am going to start dropping some spoilers on this. If you have not seen Deadpool and Wolverine and want to see Deadpool and Wolverine without spoilers, please don't worry about me and the audience count. I'm going to be okay. Just simply stop now at where are we at? We're at the 28-minute mark, and then come back to this after, and then you can kind of go over what I guess myself is talking about. Was hoping to have Vernell, because he hasn't seen a lot of the Marvel movies, so he was kind of going in with fresh eyes and not really knowing what the story was and where it was building up. And it's kind of interesting to talk to people like that, because they see things in a different way than someone like me, who I've been following Marvel damn near my whole life. I watched the cartoons. I got the comic books as a kid, and it was, I got into the MCU a little late, but basically a little after Avengers, but went back, started with Iron Man, went through the whole setup to catch me up, jumped in it, was really loving it right up to Infinity War and Endgame. COVID happened, which kind of paused a lot of stuff. Got back into it with WandaVision. Fun show. The first, I believe, 5 or 6 episodes, they're going through the decades and they're trying different stuff, and it was fun. Gets a little hairy for the ending. It was kinda, you know, bits and pieces of, well, this but this you don't know, and it kinda went all over the place. Like I said, Falcon and Winter Soldier, it's a mercenary type show. It kinda was bringing a lot of real stuff into their world. So, it wasn't it wasn't fun to watch. If you're into, like, CSI dramas and stuff like that, it's a fun show to watch, but for people who were really, like, trying to escape the world, it was not fun to watch, and that's where Marvel kinda started losing me, and it kinda became like, well, if you guys are just gonna pump in stuff I'm seeing from the real world, why am I still watching this? So, like I said, I kinda dropped out on Marvel there, and, you know, they had some interesting movies come out. Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, which I heard had cameos. I saw them. Didn't do so well with being able to hold the multiverses. And the multiverses is basically there's a version of you in every decision that you make. So if I decided to go to work today, there's a version of me that goes to work. If I decide to stay home, there's a version of me that stays home. And then whatever happens after that creates the universe for that individual. So when they started getting into the multiverses, it started being able to bring things back and people back and alternate people and change things and go all over the place that nothing was consequential. Nothing really was of meaning. If you had a character die, you'd go to another universe, pull that same version of the character and use them in there. So it wasn't really anything that was shattering. The you take the biggest shattering event of the whole thing, which was Tony Stark dying in Avengers Endgame. Again, spoiler alert. You know, that was something that was built up for 11 years and was an end. Like, he wasn't coming back. He wasn't in the next movie. He was dead. And it was something that solidified the timeline that was going on. But when you start bringing in multiverses, it's like, oh, well, we can just go get another Tony Stark. He'll be Iron Man. Or you go get somebody else and you make them into the new Iron Man like character. So it doesn't mean anything after a while. So you kind of fall out. Like I said, I missed Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I missed Spider Man No Way Home. What were the other ones? There was a ton of shows on Disney Plus that didn't feel the need to watch. And like I say, when you're going into Deadpool and Wolverine, they do a lot of explaining of stuff. So you don't need to have watched the shows. They'll basically kind of give you a hint of what it is you need to know about this character or this event that's happening. So you'll basically know what's going on. What may help if you want to is rewatch X-Men from 1999. What was it? X2 United. And then it was a third X-Men movie, which I've seen them. They were good. They weren't the greatest. This is from 99 to 2004. This is basically the studios just taking a hunch that, hey, we had kids that were watching the animated series of X-Men on Fox Kids. They were watching the animated series of Spider-Man. We think now that they're, in high school or even going into college, we think they'll like live action versions of these movies. We're going to actually put some money into because there's been live actions of X-Men and Marvel characters for who knows how long. I mean, since television started, I guess. Well, since they were created, I guess in the 60s. You had, the Incredible Hulk with Lou Ferrigno in the 70s. You had a live Thor uh series that went on. You had a Fantastic Four series that I believe went on also in the late 80s, early 90s they were trying. And then you had the Blade series. And a lot of people don't realize Blade is a Marvel character. He's a vampire hunter. They did 3 movies with Wesley Snipes and they did well. So when you get up to 1999 with the first X-Men movie, they went and tried to find characters who kind of fit. They weren't perfect, but they fit what the comic book character looked like. So it was, let's put some money into this. Let's make a full motion picture and let's see if it really gets traction. Either the kids who grew up with this are going to love it, or they're going to think, no, this is terrible. Why would I watch live action? Like, you can't do half the stuff that the comics can do. So they released those. They did really well. They tried doing a couple Fantastic Four movies where you had the Fantastic Four being created. You found out how Mr. Fantastic, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm became, the Flame, I believe. I watched the movie, wasn't terribly into them. They're kind of a niche group. Some people really love them, some people really don't care. And then you had The Thing, Ben Grimm. So they were building this kind of, we got this group of characters, and where do we go from there? So Marvel decided to pick up the mantle and say, hey, all right, these things are starting to take off. Let's start something. And they released the first Iron Man in 2008 with Robert Downey Jr. So if you watch those movies in those early 2000s, it really gets you ready to go into this movie. And I say that because the characters that get introduced in the cameos in this movie there are a lot of them from that timeline. So if you're going to know, hey, this one and that one and that one, those are the type of movies to watch. The X-Men restarted, I believe it was around 2012 with X-Men First Class. And it was basically the 60s version of the X-Men, Charles Xavier and Magneto first meeting and how do they work together and how the team was built from, barely anybody. And there's a couple characters from that series. So you had First Class, you had Days of Future Past, you had Apocalypse, and then it goes into the Phoenix Saga, which you don't need to watch for this. It was an interesting movie, kind of ended Fox's universe with the X-Men and kind of feeds into this. So, spoilers. Again, if you want to watch the movie and you don't want to know what's going to happen into it, turn off right now. Don't worry. I'm going to keep going for another 20 minutes or so, break down some stuff. You really want to be surprised, especially if you're going in within the next couple weeks with a fresh audience and you watch this. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. If you go back and rewatch it, which I plan on going back to try in the IMAX version of it, the surprise cameos, you're going to kind of already know who they are, but we'll see how it goes. And I'll probably tell you next week if I get it in how it is the second time around, because I've heard some reviewers who say the third or fourth time watching this, like you bring it home, you just bought it on Blu-ray and you watch it, you're not gonna feel as excited about it as the first time you watched it. So I'm kind of curious, will it still have the heart that it has on the third or fourth time? Because I can do that with Infinity War and Endgame. More so with Infinity War. I could pop it in. I've got them both on Blu-ray. I can simply put them in on a Saturday. They're 3-hour movies, so your whole Saturday night's gone with it. I believe you can still hear me. Okay, I think you can still hear me. We're coming back on camera. There we go. Okay. Sorry there. A little malfunction on me there. Okay. So, like I say, I can put it in Infinity War, rewatch it for probably the 50th time, and it's still a great movie to me. So it'll be interesting to see how this movie does on a third or fourth time watching it. So, spoilers. All right. So, Doctor Doom is not in this movie. I know a lot of people in the first trailer thought Doctor Doom was going to be in it. Were there going to be any other big villains that we already knew? Was Kang going to be in it because they'd been building up the Kang dynasty? No to all of that. This movie kind of works on the outside of the universe, of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So it's in a place called the Void, which is basically what you would think. It's basically a dumping ground for characters who their series have ended or their series just didn't like them anymore. And these characters just kind of got thrown into the void to just lay and waste until they're destroyed. So that's where a lot of the cameos come into play. Again, spoiler alert, do not listen to this if you want to be surprised. I'm going to start with the good. The good was Blade is back. Wesley Snipes reprised his role, had a couple good jokes in there, all the characters that come back have a moment there to be able to express what they wanted to express. And I think that was good. The movie definitely dumps on how the MCU has been going the last 4 or 5 years. And even before that, they crack jokes on stuff that, you could just basically tell wasn't going to work with stuff. Wesley Snipes as Blade comes back. Jennifer Gardner as Elektra comes back. Daphne Keane as X-23 is back, which you see in the last trailer, which I think that trailer kind of ruined it with that point. So Deadpool is tasked with trying to save his universe from getting destroyed. The Wolverine in his universe is the one in Logan, which ends up, again, spoiler alert, he ends up dying at the end of Logan. So he has to go find another Wolverine to be in his universe to save his universe from being destroyed. Yes, there are going to be points in this movie where you just say, wait a minute, why? What's going on? Again, this is not a plot-driven type story. This is a buddy comedy. Hey, we've got a mission to do. We're going to crack jokes through the whole thing. It's real fun. It's real exciting. And guess what? You remember that guy and you remember that girl? Yeah, they're back in here too. So it's going to be fun. So again, yeah, there were moments where I just said, wait, what? Why? So I tried to shut my brain off, sit there and enjoy the movie for the movie and just laugh along with everybody and clap along with everybody. And I had fun with it. So that was good, Blade. Who else? Gotta state this. I loved that they brought a Gambit character into this movie. Okay. Was he the best? No, he was a bit pudgy. I personally would have liked to have seen his face slimmed down to fit into the costume because the costume is X-Men animated series from the 90s accurate. The breastplate, the long jacket, the spandex suit, the headband that he wears, everything is there. Tries to talk with a Louisiana accent. Probably could have found a better actor to do this, but I think that's the campiness of it, is that you didn't find the best actor to do this, you just found somebody who could do it. So they cracked jokes with that, and because everybody was laughing in the theater, I missed a couple of them. So that's why I'm kind of going back to watch it again. But loved that 20 years later, actually 24 years later, actually, man, they finally put a live action Gambit character in a movie. Was he the best? No. Did he do everything that he was supposed to do? Yes. The cards, he has his fighting stick. Again, comment in the section if you know what it's actually called. But I loved it. It's just they could have found a character that was an actor to play the character that was a little more toned, a little more, worked out in the last 6 months and would have been better. But again, I was just excited to see him on the scene. The fight scene with all of them in it is just phenomenal. Again, I don't know why Fernell says there's not enough. There's plenty of action in this movie. So that was great. You see the army of Deadpools, which I think you see in one of the trailers also. Henry Cavill does make a special appearance, small role. He plays one of the Wolverines while Deadpool is searching for Wolverines through different universes. He finds different ones. So one of them is actually Henry Cavill, who played Superman in Man of Steel, Justice League, Batman versus Superman. He was the Superman for DC for quite a while. So he actually stepped in, does a very good version of Wolverine, and some people are saying that he should end up taking it over, whereas Hugh Jackman can kind of step away from it and do whatever he wants to do. So definitely that was fun. They crack a joke on it. Deadpool kind of looks at him and is like, "Don't you look like Henry?" and then gets his face smashed in. So it was fun. It was fun for that. Again, you see a lot of the characters from the old X-Men movies. The Juggernaut from X-Men and X-Men 2 United. I don't know if he was in the third one. I don't remember, but he's in it. So you don't get the new Juggernaut from Deadpool 2, which was a much better version of the Juggernaut. But it was good. It was good. It worked because these are supposed to be the characters that nobody really wanted anymore. So these are the one-offs that you saw in a movie and then never saw again. And maybe they had a better version done in the movies later on. And big spoiler. So to anyone who said Chris Evans didn't want to be back in the Marvel studio and the Marvel cinematic universe, you don't know jack, okay? Because guess what? He's in the movie, and he's not Captain America. And it's really funny who he is. And again, spoiler alert, he's actually the Johnny Storm from the original Fantastic Four of 2006 or so, 2005, around that era. So it's really funny how he gets discovered there and has a great 20 minutes in the movie. And the CGI is, again, this is a campy kind of movie. It's not picture perfect. They try to de-age some of these characters. So it'd be like taking a picture of me as a 20-year-old and putting it over my face now to make me look like a 20-year-old again. So it's not the greatest technology. And if you aren't doing a really big budget, it can be kind of, sketchy, we'll say. And I'm looking up the budget on this. No, that's the box office. What was the budget? Okay, so the estimates on the budget for this movie are anywhere from 350 to 390 million. Wait. No, see, they don't explain that. So that's what they're expecting. Okay. Disney spent about 200 million to produce and roughly another 100 million to promote the movie. So, yeah, actually maybe around 350 million because their estimates are always a little bit lower than what they ended up turning out to be. So, yeah, 350 mil to make the movie. So you really stretching the budget on that one for $350 million to make this movie. I know there were some reshoots, and so that was, but I think paying for all the actors to come back, like these are big name actors. Chris Evans, Hugh Jackman, you had Wesley Snipes, you had Jennifer Gardner come back to reprise her role. You had a lot of big stars, Henry Cavill. It's going to cost a lot of money just to get them on the set. So it's not surprising. I think at the end of this run, we're looking at 1.1 to 1.2 billion for the movie. So you get about 40 to 50% of the take from the box office. So if they clear, 450 million, it's a great movie. I wouldn't consider it a barn burner. If it costs you 250 million to do, and then you make $1 billion, you take it home 450. Yeah, you doubled. So you're doing really good on that. But to have it cost that much, it's still, you have to get to $1 billion to really clear any money. It's gonna be considered a success by critics, but it's a success in a vacuum, in the sense that for the movie, yeah, it's a hit. It no way not to say it's not going to be a hit, but for the MCU, I'm going to say it as that. For the MCU, it's a small helping, I guess. When you've lost so much money last year, even just making a little bit this year just kind of offsets your losses. So hopefully this isn't taken as, oh, they love a bunch of cameos. Let's just make another movie with a bunch of heroes in it. And we'll find some people that they remember from somewhere and we'll do it again. That's not the point. The point of this movie is to tell you that if you do campy movies with just throwing a bunch of heroes in it, it isn't what people want unless you can write the story that fits it. So I think writing the story is really what Marvel has to get back to, and then they'll be able to get a better hold on these losses on these movies. Another thing is you need to develop a plan for the next 5 years, and it needs to all link. See, the problem with multiverses is if it nothing links, nothing makes sense. You do a movie for this character and a movie for this character, but something in there was supposed to link in their universes, and it doesn't end up making any sense to any of this stuff. So when you're doing multiverses, it works when things connect. People can watch the movie and be like, oh my God, I saw that bike in the other movie, and it's because it's the bike that he rides in that movie, but it's here in this movie because the universes connect. And that's how you write multiverse stories and have these ideas where characters are going to interact with other characters and things happen because of it. So that's the problem with Marvel. But this movie, yes, it's going to be great. Again, I thought it was a little short. Others have thought it was too long. I think they could have taken the Wolverine story from the character in this movie, and they could have built it a little more. It's kind of just talked about. It's not shown. And I think if they had kind of done like a flashback scene or something and gotten maybe Scott Summers from the early X-Men movies or Jean Grey and had them there, it would have connected that story a little better. You kind of don't understand fully if you're not paying attention, especially why this Wolverine feels the way he feels. Like he tells you what happened, but it's like, is that really what happened? What was going on? What do you mean? How did this happen? So they could have spent a little more, maybe kicked it up to 400 million and did a flashback or even like a ghostly image kind of thing that would kind of put that together. Another thing I didn't like about this movie was Wade Wilson, who is Deadpool, is not with Vanessa. Again, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. He's not with Vanessa in the movie. Okay, so when he went back at the end of Deadpool 2 to save her, something happens after where she just thinks he doesn't matter anymore, and she's not really with him. And I thought that was a really weird, risky way to write this movie. I don't think it makes it much of a it feeds into the plot a little, but you really could have had his own self-imposed doubts feed the plot too. But to use her as like, oh, I don't really think you're important to anything anymore. And to say, yeah, that's why I'm gonna break up with you. I didn't really think it was needed for the movie. I felt it was kind of so. And you don't really find out at the end whether he actually gets back with her, which is kind of the whole point of the first and second movies. It's like if you're going to build up this relationship, you kind of want to see it go through, not just kind of like, oh, well, maybe they're together, maybe they're not together. So that was kind of a iffy thing for me there. I was like, I don't think it really needed to do it that way. It helps it, but I wouldn't have done it that way. So, all in all, the movie is good. It's a little over 2 hours. There's a 15 minutes of trailers or so. So you can walk in late to the movie. If you're 5-10 minutes late, don't worry. You'll see the whole movie. And like we both said earlier, we would recommend going to see it if you're into the Marvel movies, if you're into the X-Men, if you're into the comics, if you're into the jokes about Disney that I constantly do. Go see this. You're gonna have fun. You're gonna laugh. It's gonna be exciting. And then come back and if you want to talk about any of the stuff I went over, drop a comment. I'll be checking this video throughout the week, and I'll be commenting back on what you say about it. So it's about 9 o'clock. I'm gonna start wrapping this up. I have my normal show, The Angriest Man in the World, Tuesdays on The Angriest Man in the World. Angriest Man in Orlando, sorry. Angriest Man in Orlando channel, because I am the angriest man in Orlando. Sometimes the angriest man in the world. But I'll be doing that Tuesday nights at 8. Next Thursday, 2 Men in a Room. We'll be back with a special co-host, and we're working on finding out who that special co-host is. If you want it to be you, simply drop me a comment on this. Let me know. We'll talk. But we're going to wrap it up. It's been a wonderful Thursday talking about the movies, talking about the economy of the movies and how everything works and whether this is a good movie to go see. And yeah, it really is. It doesn't go anywhere after either, but stay all the way to the end. Watch the end scene at the end of the credits. It's a nice little gift for the movie, but it doesn't go anywhere. This is like an ending of the multiverse, an ending of Disney MCU. Hopefully, they do have a few things coming out after, which are just going to be dreadful. So, yeah, but it's a fun movie. So, if you go, kick back, shut your brain off, and enjoy. So, I'll see you next Tuesdays and Thursday. And y'all have a good night and a great weekend. Bye-bye for now.